This is a mini lesson analysis on Marth versus Ice Climbers. Okay, so here's how this sort of like opener of the matchup usually goes is that you are going to be checking initially where the Marth is where the Icies is just gonna lunge forward with like a wave dash. Either this is done by cutting off the Icies going in, or you give her a lot of space, or you use the platforms to maneuver around her just going in, right? So that's check number one. And Icy's ways of countering that is by going for a Blizzard Ice Block wall, which results to a little bit of a stalemate. However, in that kind of game state, Marth still has a slight advantage in the sense that he always has the attacker's advantage of he always has the attacker's advantage of going in when he finds the best possible angle and timing. It's a little bit unintuitive, and obviously there's a little bit more layers to that, but that's kind of like the overview of the matchup that you could use where you're sort of forced outside your comfort zone a bit, where you need a full hop, you need to use platforms, like things that Marth doesn't typically use in this toolkit, in a sense that like you're a lot more airborne in this matchup compared to basically all your other matchups where you're very grounded. This matchup is a little bit of the opposite, where like you want to be a little bit more airborne to maneuver your way in around Icy's wall zoning kind of plays, because Marth's grounded toolkit, as you see here, not gonna really cut it here, right? Like your sword doesn't outrange the Blizzard, and you have the only way that you could beat something like a Blizzard Ice Block is by finding like a diagonal angle in, like say like you full up at a timing where like they do the Blizzard Ice Block, and then you find your way to do like a falling dare here, like in theory here you could have done a falling dare to another shield drop falling dare to get a juicy follow up in some way, which you cannot whip punish this. That's just not really possible with Marth's ground tools, but it is possible with the air angle that I'm talking about. However, where there's a little bit more layers and complexities to this is that, you see this, and then it's like, okay, I'm going to try that now. And now the Ices just chose to not zone in. So there's always this a little bit of a tightrope and balance that you need to like just camp for a bit and either assume that the Ices is just going to go in anyways, or because of your attacker's advantage of representing yourself going in, that you're going to have the natural tempo advantage of reading when Ices is going to zone in place. So in other words, what I'm saying, too long didn't watch. I mean, I don't know how you're going to do that here, but essentially the game plan of this matchup is you just need to camp Ices, because eventually they're going to do stuff like this where they're going to go into grab the moves anyways, because that's their high reward thing, is that like they want to go for smash attacks, they want to go for the run up grabs, that you just wait this out and then you call, and then you just like you just camp and you down tilt, you short hop back, you full hop back, you use platforms to beat stuff like this, and only go in this full hop thing when they are repeatedly camping with this Blizzard Ice Block. Like I'd say for like more than good general rule of thumb is that if they do this for like 3 more beats, then that means they are committed to just camping with Blizzard Ice Block, and that's when you go in. And so I just think you kind of pulled the trigger too early there. And you're like, your overall tempo is just like a little bit, your overall prioritization and when to go in and when to camp is just a little bit off. Like you're just seeing him camp for 1 second, you're like, all right, I need to go in. Think of it like a classical, like you see Fox like running away laser, so then you try to go up to him and forward smash him, but that's when he drills, when it's like, your prioritization's a little bit different. Yeah, and also when you're going in, you need to go in like like you can't just do a high fair on shield. Like you need to do a lot lower of an aerial or go for a waveland play. Like you can't just go in, a Fox wouldn't just high nair your shield for a shield grab. It would be a running shine grab or a low nair on shield. So like, it does need some kind of nuance. Like that fair, but then like the platform messed you up. And then Sopo, the matchup gets a lot easier, obviously. Like, you're not as confined to the zoning wall thing. So, like, you're not as pressured to just go in. You could just camp as much as you want. But when it's 2 of them, then you need to be a little bit more like, I liked how you were camping there because like eventually he will go in. I just feel like you're not super aware of that layer of when to go in versus just camping. And at the moment, your problem is that you just need to camp like a lot more because that's just how the prioritization of this matchup goes and like how the risk reward. Because the thing about you camping is that you get like more leeway, you get more plan Bs, and you get just the overall risk reward is better for you. Versus when you go in, if you're wrong about you going in, you get fucked really hard. Like there's no plan B. You are probably gonna die, especially if you get grabbed in a corner. You're just not in a great spot. So that's also another reason why you should just prioritize essentially camping. Also, you really could have just killed Nana there. That's another thing you could obviously get better at, is like, punishing Nana harder, knowing how to prioritize, like hitting Sopo and Nana. The general rule of thumb is that if Sopo can hit you, then you should target switch and focus mostly on Sopo. But if Sopo cannot hit you, then you prioritize killing Nana. But, let's focus on step one here, where it's like, finding the correct hit, where like I think you're camping a good amount now, but you don't want to overcamp, because when you overcamp for too much, that's when they start going in. And when they start going in, like with things like full hop, up air, or bear, is when you should start going in. Like I actually think at the moment, funnily enough, I thought the last like 20 seconds ish, you're camping a little bit too much. And that's why like you can't just camp Icies, bro. Like you need to do both. You need to be able to know how much you're supposed to camp and know when you're supposed to go in. Also, the game just skipped a bunch of frames. But I hope this explanation on like, the default game plan and how you should fight Icies is a good starting point for you.